I consider myself a person that takes pride in their work. But at the same time, when you're working for these companies, make sure as you're starting to build up that PTO and you're starting to, build up those sick days, use them. I'm not saying abuse them, but use them, because a lot of these companies won't even let you know that you've built these up. Make sure you're paying attention to your paychecks. Make sure that you're paying attention to your hours. When I used to work for UPS, man, I didn't have a correct paycheck, especially when I was a driver. Not when I was in the warehouse, but when I was a driver, it took me 3 to 4 weeks to actually get the correct pay. And if I wasn't checking, they wouldn't have said a damn thing. I would log into my account, look at my paycheck, and be like, why am I still getting the same pay rate as I would in the warehouse? Because where I'm at for the warehouse starts at 21 an hour, and then when you go to being a driver, it goes up $10, 31 an hour. So I would look at my paycheck and I'm like, 21? Why am I still getting 21 an hour? But that comes down to your manager. Your manager is the one that's supposed to switch you over in the system to make sure that you get paid correctly as a driver. So this isn't the only time I've had this issue, but make sure that you take those sick days. Make sure that you take those vacation days. And if you don't, make sure you know if those hours carry over or not. Because if they don't, make sure that you get paid for those hours because you earned it. I used to be one of those people that was like, oh, I never call out, or I'm gonna always show up. And for the most part, I still do. Like, I'm not one of those people that would just call out and say that I'm sick when I'm really not. Now, when I was younger, I would do that shit all the time. But, now, money is so important. And, for certain jobs, if you do take off, or if you do decide to call out, you might not be getting paid. It really depends on your situation. I'm not a big fan of salary, but I also know that, there's good and bad sides to both, no matter what. But I'm one of those people that doesn't like salary because it provides that cap. Like, you can put in so much effort and time and work more hours, but you're still getting the same paycheck. That's always bothered me, but that's just me. But make sure you take those sick days and make sure that you prioritize your mental health, because these companies don't give a damn about you. They don't care about what you're going through. They don't care about, your health. They just want to work. And then if you do decide to call out, or if you do take a couple sick days, then they start looking at you a little differently. I remember when I first called out as a driver, I called out because I was pissed off. I had a helper, and I don't know if you've seen some of the helpers when it comes to being a UPS driver, but there's some helpers that are good and there's some helpers that ain't worth a damn, that are just in your way. And I remember I kept telling them, I don't want a helper. And they're like, all right, we'll put in a request not to have a helper. Then the next day I would have a helper. And then I would go to my manager and say something, and he started laughing. Like, all right, man, like, I'm sorry, man, it's just required, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bruh, I'm telling you right now, if I get off later than necessary, I'm gonna be pissed. But make sure you take those sick days, prioritize your mental health, and make sure that you're rejuvenating, because in today's times, it's a necessity and it's important. Because, man, I can just look at people and I can just tell that a lot of people are struggling and a lot of people are going through a lot of stuff. So make sure you take those sick days. Take control or be controlled.